What's up guys, King Crisis here. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you guys enjoyed this video, comment down below some more video recommendations. With that being said, we are only 12 subscribers away from reaching 5K. Please like, subscribe, hype the video for me, comment down below, whatever you want to comment. Give me some tips, yeah, do whatever. With that being said, let's start this video. This video starts off with Izuku in the back of his classroom as he watches everyone around him show off their quirks. Izuku just looked unimpressed. Basically everyone in his class, except for maybe 3 people, inherited quirks that were just so trash that genuinely it was just sad to see. He wasn't impressed by anyone. To him, everyone there looked pathetic. Everyone except for Bakugo, who was the only person who seemed to manifest something worthwhile. But even then, he just didn't find his quirk to be too interesting either. Boom, explosions. That's so cool. The kid who could shoot clouds from her hands, she was at least a bit cooler. It was something unique. But explosions? Kind of basic. Just a basic fire and, well, emitter type quirk. He himself was holding an apple. He looked at it, tossed it in the air, caught it, tossed it in the air, caught it, and he began to do this over and over and over and over. As to him, everything going by was just so boring that he just kind of couldn't think of anything else to do. As he begins to toss it in the air, suddenly the apple would freeze mid-air. Izuku looks upward a bit confused. As he jumps to try to grab the apple would remain in its place because after all, he can't jump that high. Izuku would look upward annoyed. Guess I got my quirk, he would say to himself, as he tries to jump again in order to grab the apple, but nothing would happen. But the apple would suddenly fall down, and as it falls, Izuku witnesses the apple, well, essentially vanish out of existence. Izuku looked very irritated, and the only thing that hit the floor would be a little seed. Izuku goes to pick up the seed, and as he looks at it, he would think, that's weird. He goes towards his teacher and told her that his apple disappeared. The teacher would look at him a bit confused, saying that that isn't too important. They'll just give him another apple. All the kids are awakening their quirks right now, Izuku. It's a little bit, it's not fair that he's focused on an apple right now when more important things are going on. Izuku will look towards the teacher. He rolls his eyes and walks away, thinking, idiot. She's so annoying. I don't like that lady. He goes and he sits down. As he sits down, he then would wonder, Looking at the seed still in his hand, he would simply point his finger forward, and slowly but surely the seed begins to grow until eventually it would form into a full-fledged apple tree. In the middle of the classroom, everyone notices this and are all absolutely stunned. The teacher, stunned. She would quickly go towards Izuku and ask him if he did that. Izuku would just calmly say, yes ma'am. The teacher then would immediately tell the class that his quirk awakened and that it appears to be a nature-based quirk. Izuku would think, I don't think it's nature-related, but whatever. He would wait, where from here, Inko would arrive at the school, taking Izuku home, where from there his quirk would be examined. A doctor will walk out from his office, and he looks towards Inko with a very serious facial expression. Ma'am. Yeah, Izuku's gonna have to come with us. What? Inko would quickly say. Ma'am, your son has the most powerful quirk ever. Point blank, period. The most powerful quirk to ever manifest. It is a mutation. It is a emitter. It is a transmit. It is every type of quirk there is. Izuku's quirk gives him the power to control time. Inko hears this and her mouth is agape. She's astonished. Time manipulation? Her boy? She looks towards the doctors and explains, but that's impossible. His father's quirk is fire breathing. Her quirk is telekinesis. Where would Izuku somehow manage to get time out of that? The doctor looks forward as he simply shrugs his shoulders, explaining that he doesn't know. But what he does know is Izuku has the power to stop time, accelerate or slow down time, has the power to trap people in time loops. He can reverse time, rewinding specific targets, events like undoing injuries, attacking, like literally rewinding himself. Age manipulation, he can create temporal clones, chrono strikes, which appears here that he can control the energy of time itself, allowing him the ability to do several powerful things, such as time skip, allowing himself to be skipped forward in time, essentially making him untouchable. And, well, he has delayed attack, he has foresight, he has time phasing, allowing him to phase through moments of time where he's invisible. And he's invisible and intangible. He has past echoes, summon ghosts of past events. That way he can just completely just rewatch entire events with just a simple thought of it. He has temporal displacement. He can send someone forward and backwards in time. He has time anchoring, where he's able to lock someone or something in their current state. They cannot be healed, they cannot age, and it cannot be moved by most things. He has chrono wrapping fields, where he can create bubbles where time moves differently. He has instant learning, able to learn anything within a matter of a few moments. He has healing. He can undo any damage by reversing it. He has precognition. He can see certain glimpses of the future, and he can even, well, see alternate timelines. He has a temporal storage, and according to what it says, he can store objects or people within an alternate dimension where time is stopped. Chrono tracking. He can sense where and when someone is, whether it is in past or future time. He knows exactly where everyone is at. He can take time from someone or something and give it to another. Therefore, he can age someone and give someone that's age. And he can take your age away from you, reverting you to a younger state, and he can give it back to someone else. He can create temporal constructs. He can solidify time and shape it into weapons. And from what I can see, it is used by these things called shattered time. Broken and destroyed timelines, he can take those shattered timelines and he can literally mold it into weapons. He has timeline editing. He can rewrite the timeline. He has reversal projection. He can force others to experience times backwards. I don't even know how that works, man. He can, well, teleport. Ingo's like, is there more? The doctor's like, most definitely. There's definitely more. I mean, he's essentially a god. He looks forward. Man, if the government doesn't take Izuku in, man, the world is doomed if your son becomes a villain. If your child becomes a villain, All Might couldn't even stop him. Hell, every villain combined on the planet plus All Might couldn't even stop him. Ma'am, he needs to be with the right people that can teach him how to be a hero. If he's not with the right people, if he's not with the people that has the power to make sure that he learns how to use this power without going crazy, Mrs. Midoriya, the world, plain and simply, would be doomed. Your child is a literal god. And gods like this, we need them on our side. If not, how would it feel for you to be responsible for the creation of the most dangerous villain in all of history? Inko would remain silent. She didn't say she wants to see her child grow up. She wants to be a mother. She doesn't want to just lose her baby boy. The doctor looks towards her and says that they're certain that the government will come up with something. But the authorities were already called. The authorities were called 2 hours ago. They're most likely already here. Inko hears this and she would look towards Izuku and she instantly begins to cry. She runs towards her son and she immediately hugs him as she tells him that she will not let them take him. But it's too late. As the doors burst open, walking inside will be a man wearing a tie. Well, my bad, would be wearing an all white suit. He turns towards the doctor. Thank you. I've never seen a boy quite like this one. He looks towards Izuku. Time manipulation, you say? The doctor looks forward. Not just that. Chronokinesis and energy manipulation as well. He can control energy. Yes, he can control energy from destroyed timelines. How is that possible? The doctor shrugs his shoulder to explain that he doesn't know. Fine. It doesn't matter. He turns towards Izuku and smiles. You're coming with me. As Inko would grab him, saying that she doesn't want to lose her baby boy. The man looks towards her and he just burst out laughing. With a wave of his hand, Inko's flung back against the wall. The man then would say calmly, Madam, if you try anything else, I will kill you. Inko looks forward and says she just doesn't want to lose her child. The man lifts up his hand as the oxygen within Inko's lung begins to get snatched out. Izuku sees this and he immediately activates his quirk, as instantly Inko's body would freeze. she will be able to breathe again. The doctor looks forward confused. What the hell are you doing, boy? The man would say as he turns towards Izuku. Izuku looks forward towards him, eyes glowing green. He lifts up his hand as all of a sudden a clock would form within his hand, and instantly 3 clocks will form around the man's body, freezing him in place with only his head moving. A young Izuku stares at the man dead in his eyes as the man's head begins to age rapidly, specifically his head, to where his whole body will be remain in his prime with the physical face and brain of an elderly man. The man literally can feel himself aging at a rapid rate to the point where he feels physical pain just from aging. He lets out screeches of pain as he collapses to the ground and holds his face and just rolls around in pain. Izuku then looks towards all the other men that's all entered into the room. Izuku says that no one is going to hurt his mother. He rushes forward towards the first man, but immediately someone appears right behind Izuku. And unannounced to him, this teenager, was Hawks. In an instant, Izuku will be smacked on the back of his neck, and he passes clean unconscious. From here, Izuku will wake up with the same exact man sitting in front of him. He looks at him. Undo it, kid. Izuku looks at him with a simple, just blank look on his face. I'll heal you if you bring my mother here as well. The man looks at him. He begins to laugh hysterically, explaining that no, this place is a place only for those with quirks like Izuku. Those who have potential to do insane things with their quirks, to be powerful heroes. Or those who are lucky enough to get here. He looks towards him. Your mother is not one of those people. Izuku looks forward. She has telekinesis, a powerful one at that. She can attract small objects to her, and with a simple wave of her hand, she can pull atoms apart, destabilizing them and causing them to erupt into powerful explosions. Although the only downside would be they'll be pulled towards her. But we don't know what all she can do with her quirk. I don't know what all she can do. I know her quirk revolves pushing and pulling. Hell, she could probably pull a Gojo from JJK. As he says this, the man looks at him. Undo it, and I'll bring your mother here. But there'll be a thing. Your mother will get to live on the facility, but you'll only get to see her once every 2 months. Izuku hears this, he's like, what? The man would say, that or nothing, and your mother will be left without you forever. The decision is yours, Bright. As the man stands up and walks away, Izuku looks towards him with an annoyed look on his face. Ever since he grew up, Izuku grew up with a much different attitude from other kids. Starting off as a simple 1-year-old baby, he acted almost as if he was a 14-year-old teenager. By the time Izuku was 4 years old, or right now, he had the mindset of an 18-year-old. He was a very smart individual for his age, calm and collected, although he still does have the mind of a teenager, so he can still have teenage moments. So, this will be one of those big moments, and the doctor would walk out. As Izuku proceeds to heal the man's face, the man will call Inko in. He brings her into the facility, giving her a home, supplying her with food, Wi-Fi, but there are several ground rules. She has a curfew, she cannot leave for too long, and she cannot come back too late. Simple rules to it. Inko rarely would see Izuku, and Izuku would train every single day. For years on end, that's all they did. Train after train after train. Izuku has such a large repertoire of abilities that it was kind of hard for him to really train. He learned that he could fly somehow. He doesn't even know how it works. He learns that he can freeze people, objects, and even reverse the flow of objects. Meaning that if someone throws something at him, Izuku can reverse it in time at the same exact speed at which it was thrown. He learned that he can just straight up alter timelines, which means the timeline himself, he can pull a Yuhaba and switch timelines. Busted as hell. He learns that he can create temporal clones by taking duplicates of himself pulled from moments within his own timeline, and they can literally fight alongside him. But there's limitations, of course. After a certain while, they'll fade away. But what matters is the fact that he can do this. He can do these things with absolute ease. From here, there you would see the man, the same exact man that took Izuku in to begin with. As Izuku walks upward towards him, It's time for me to go to UA. You told me at 10 months of training, I could spend it all with my mother. At our original home, outside of this facility, where I can meet my old friends. The man looks towards Izuku. Yeah, I did. He could be seen drinking a glass of wine. But maybe I don't want you to go. Maybe I think you don't need to leave. Maybe you, of all people, should stay here. The man looks towards Izuku as he lifts up his hand and the wind within the room begins to swirl. As Izuku begins to get lifted up off of his feet, Izuku quickly lifts up his hand as the very wind within the room begins to freeze, freezing around Izuku to the point where the wind is visible. Izuku looks at him and says, I'm only gonna say this one time. As he lifts up his head, a green aura would surround him, and the man will be frozen and snatched forward in time, snatching the man directly towards Izuku, with Izuku holding the man by his throat. Let me make myself clear. With a snap of my finger, I can completely disrupt the timeline within this area, causing this entire facility to be dropped into the void. Do you understand me? An instant KO technique, which will wipe out everyone here. You understand me? Now I'm only gonna say this one time. I'm not asking you for anything. I am telling you that is what I'm going to do. And you do not have the power to stop me, neither does any of your men. So the next time I say something, it's not a question. It is not a request. It is a goddamn demand. Izuku would say. As from here, he would drop the man. The man looks towards him and he says, you're pathetic. Izuku tells him, that's true. I have my own issues. But you, calling me pathetic? That's rich. As Izuku will walk out, the man would just sigh. Whereas from here, the start right before graduation, Inko would go, and so would Izuku. They would throw a big party where Inko would invite all of her old friends, people that haven't seen Inko in years. And well, let's say something really quickly. During this time in the facility, Inko also trained, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. She just straight up became a female Gojo. Because we know that Inko's power allows her to attract things towards her. She can now push things away as well. Basically allowing her to create a pseudo-infinity and even create red and blue, except in her own Inko Midoriya fashion. But yeah. Anyways, Deku figures that's where his time powers come from, the manipulation over space, because manipulation over time is manipulation over space. Space and time are the same coin, two sides of the same coin. So, yeah. From here, Izuku would have a good time with everyone, including his friend Bakugo, whom he haven't seen in years, with Bakugo kind of being an arrogant brat for most of the time, but Izuku kind of seen right through it. From the very jump, he's seen right through it. And him and Bakugo would get along well, just like they used to when they were kids. Bakugo even asks Izuku what is his quirk and where she's been all these years. And well, Izuku just straight up tells him. He was kept inside of a military grade facility because he has the power to control time. And Bakugo just looks at him. Huh? Yeah, I can control time. They kept me in the military base and they also brought my mother there because if they wouldn't have, I would have dropped the entire facility into the void and killed the guy running it twice. Bakugo looks at him. I'm gonna need you to explain what the fuck you're talking about. Deku then would say, oh, you don't believe me, do you? Bakugo looks at him. No! Okay, Deku stands up and he tells him to come at him with everything he got. Bakugo launches explosions and rushes towards Deku and goes straight in for an explosion right at the face. Deku just calmly dodges, grabs Bakugo by his wrist, reverses the explosion back into a sweat form, hosts Bakugo arm into the air, and proceeds to punch him in the stomach with his other arm. Bakugo was sent flying, launched across the house, and from there he will be laid out in the kitchen. Everyone there turns and just looks at him. Deku lifts up his hand and says he's sorry, it was an accident, they were play fighting. Inko looks at him knowing that he was lying, but Izuku lifts up his hand and reverses the damage of everything in the house. They will all ask what the hell was that, what's his quirk, and Deku would just calmly lie and say it was telekinesis. Obviously, that wasn't no telekinesis, and the only person that actually matters that knows is Inko, so it don't matter. Bakugo proceeds to get up as Izuku heals his wounds. And quickly, Bakugo, with no hesitation, well, he asks Izuku to fight him. every day if they have to. And that's what would happen. Before the start of the 10 months of training, I said like 3 weeks before that, Deku and Bakugo would fight every single day. And every day, Bakugo would get 2-tapped or 1-tapped. Hell, sometime if he's lucky, he'll get hit before hits. But every single time, Bakugo is effortlessly defeated. So from here, we cut on over towards Izuku, who's calmly just taking a stroll around the city. After all, he's not in school, so the sludge villain scene doesn't really happen at the same time for him. And it's a random kid that's caught this time. And for the sake of plot, this kid is still going to be a stupid random kid that jumps onto All Might's leg. We're going to say he's just a super psychotic fanboy that wants All Might's autograph so badly. And he didn't realize All Might already signed something on him, and he decided to be a psychopath. And well, All Might detransformed, he shrunk, blah, 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 blah. So the sludge villain is still dropped. With that being said, Bakugo winds up being trapped inside of the sludge villain. Whereas from here, the huge crowd of people is formed. And Izuku, who's walking calmly by, he sees everything. He would kind of get annoyed as he walks forward, whereas from there he would see it. Bakugo, trapped inside of this strange villain. Deku would lift up his hand as suddenly an hourglass would form. Deku then would crush this same hourglass as suddenly a green staff would form within his hand. A staff pulled from an alternate timeline. This is right here as a support item which allows Izuku the ability whilst holding it that he has the power of, well, slight wind manipulation. Yes, Izuku can pull items from alternate timelines, allowing him to straight up pull support items like Gilgamesh style. And I say like Gilgamesh style, I mean he could pull support items from an alternate timeline of My Hero Academia where technology has advanced just as much as Quirk's has advanced, or a part of My Hero or an alternate timeline where technology developed Quirks instead of people, which sounds like a crazy ass thing, but hey, an alternate timeline is an alternate timeline. And the universe, crap, I'm sorry, I stuttered like crazy just then. Universe where Deku just grabbed form, technology developed Quirks. So he has a staff that gives him the power to control wind, as long as he has this within his arsenal. And mind you, Izuku has thousands of weapons within his arsenal, all pulled from alternate dimensions, stored within his very own chronospace, which is a space where only he has access to. So Izuku holds his staff within his hand as he begins to spin it violently, with massive torrents of wind beginning to form. As the sludge villain begins to get pushed back by the wind, Izuku jumps into the air, spinning the staff, and in one wild swing of his staff, a massive burst of wind splits the sludge villain clean in half. With the sludge splattering everywhere, the rest of its body quickly begins to pick itself up, trying to form into the sludge villain again to still have Bakugo captured, but Bakugo is quickly able to use explosions to knock himself out of it. Whereas from here, Izuku would spin and he swipes down once more, creating another burst of wind that splits the sludge villain down by the metal again. Whereas from here, he will point the staff forward and a compressed ball of wind begins to form before it is shot forward and detonates upon contact with the sludge villain, blowing it apart. Bakugo looks at him and says, "Since when did you have that?" Deku then would say he has thousands of weapons, all from alternate timelines, in which these weaponry are crazy support items. He then looks towards Bakugo. "Are you okay?" Bakugo looks at him and nods. Whereas from here, they would get up, and All Might would watch these two as they go off and walk home. Now, with them walking home, I do not see this version of All Might encountering them or stopping them to give them one for all, simply because he did not run into them the first time around. Since he didn't run into Deku the first time around, he wouldn't really have a need to, keep a close eye on him. But don't worry, I'm going to tell y'all now. Bakugo's going to be the one to get one for all. Why? Because Deku does not need it, and he will not need it whatsoever. So with that being said, the 10 months of training would start. Now, during the time of the 10 months of training, Deku and Bakugo will be going hand to hand every single day, with Deku holding back tremendously against him. But he tells Bakugo to focus on his hand-to-hand combat skills, because sure, his quirk, powerful, great, remarkable, and that is a very good thing that Bakugo's quirk is that strong. But in all actuality, in a hand-to-hand combat fight, Bakugo will get his ass beat, and it's pathetic. Deku even goes as far as going into an alternate timeline and grabbing a ring of fire. This ring of fire literally is a ring that lets the wielder control fire. And he goes as far as giving this to Bakugo, but he tells him that he's not going to let him use it, and plus he's not going to activate it until Bakugo actually learns how to use hand-to-hand combat. So it takes Bakugo a solid 6 straight months of hand-to-hand combat and physical training, working on his physical strength and speed plus stamina, durability, and hand-to-hand combat skills. That is all Izuku focused on, which kind of angered Bakugo because he wanted to amp up his explosions, but Izuku explains that that very ring is the reason why he didn't focus on his quirk. He's giving Bakugo an alternative. This ring allows him to control and manipulate fire, which of course he can use in tandem with his explosions, but that ring is there so that Bakugo will have a backup in case he were to go against someone who for some reason can cancel out quirks like the pro hero Eraserhead. He'll have that ring, which is a quirk device. It is a ring that has a quirk inside of it, but who's gonna really realize? So, as he does that, he gives it to Bakugo. And from here, Bakugo will train with the ring specifically, learning how to wield its power. Whereas from here, the next 2 months, that's what he would do. And the last 2 months, he would train on his explosions, which he eventually trains with Izuku and learns that Izuku freezes time for them, giving them months among months. In the span of 2 months, they spent 20 straight months training on Bakugo's explosions, making this man's far so much stronger than this. He surpasses end of series self. Yes, he surpassed his end of series self, which isn't really that crazy of a feat because My Hero Academia only took place within the span of a fucking year, and this version of Bakugo had mentally over 2 years of training with his quirk, with Deku, a literal celestial timeline being. Yeah, if he wouldn't have gotten this powerful, I genuinely I wouldn't know what to think. So, yeah. Anyways, time skip. We arrive at the UA entrance exams. Worse from there, Izuku and Bakugo will both calmly walk inside, where I just do not see the Ida event happen. Why? Sorry if you guys heard that noise. Why? Deku doesn't murder in this timeline. He doesn't do that at all because, well, it's weird, it's random, and this version of Deku just is too chill out to do that. So we just cut straight on over towards the gates opening, and once the gate opened, Izuku would rush inside. He rushes towards the first robot he sees, which is a 3-pointer, which Izuku instantly snaps his fingers and it turns to dust. He runs towards a 2-pointer, snaps his fingers, dust. Every single robot that he comes across, he's instantly turning them into dust, and everyone at UA watching onward is stunned. From here, he begins to get bored, and this man starts like every robot he turned to dust, he begins to literally restore them to the point of they're almost finished, but right before they're programmed. And this man proceeds to pull from an alternate timeline a computer, and he programs the robots himself, making all of the robots go against the other robots. And he even goes as far as stop using his quirk at his full power and starts using his time skip and lag ability, which makes him attack robots, and well, they will be hit in a lag effect of time, which means they will, like, the effects will happen after he hit them, so much after he hits them. So he'll punch one, it'll just and it'll just like get destroyed out of nowhere. And that's what he would do over and over. He'll destroy a robot, reprogram it, and make it destroy other robots. He did this several times until eventually he just starts getting bored, where he starts getting so bored that he starts creating chrono fields, where in those fields he starts altering the flow of time for individuals around him, just being petty to see how things will play out with these guys having a fight and 2 times or 1 time speed and everything. And well, it was a bad thing and a good thing. It kind of got some of his points deducted because he was messing over a few other students. But in the end, what were they gonna do? He would heal others, and as Izuku turns to walk away, suddenly he would get visions of the 0-pointer appearing and killing Ochako, straight up stumping on her. Izuku would quickly turn, and before the rubble could fall on Ochako, he would lift up his hand and straight up freeze time. As he freezes time, he will calmly walk on over towards Ochako, sweep her up off of her feet, and just calmly walk away and snap his fingers, and time would resume. As time resumes, Ochako realizes she's all of a sudden in the hands of a random boy. As she would quickly screech and tell him to get off of her, well, to let her go, Izuku would just casually drop her to the floor. And she's like, "Hey!" And Izuku's like, "You said get off of you. I got off of you." She looks at him. You didn't have to just drop me on the floor like that. Deku looks at her. "Dude. Then what did you want me to do?" I don't. Yeah, exactly. Izuku just rolls his eyes and says, "Anyways, more importantly, I saved you from being crushed." She said, "What do you..." As the alarm begins to go off, and the zero pointer is now released onto the battlefield. Ochako turns and she sees the monstrosity that is that robot, and she sees as all the students begin to run away. Izuku looks at him and says, "Hey, you should probably run too." And she's like, "What?" He said, "You should probably run." Okay? As he lifts up his hand and proceeds to put a delay on the zero pointer, which basically causes it to stop in its tracks. He then walks towards the robot and proceeds to form a massive sword made entirely out of solidified time. He jumps upwards into the air, spins his blade, and slices the robot dead in half. And as he slices it in half, the teachers look forward. That's Izuku Midoriya. Quirk, time manipulation. As he sees this, they don't wonder, but if his quirk is time manipulation, how did he just form that blade? Well, that's a lot of things we can question. But from what we know, we don't know the limits of his quirk. Time manipulation could do several things. And, well, how did he pull those computers out of nowhere? It's almost as if he has multiple quirks and not just simple time manipulation. Alright guys, from here I'm going to be taking my break. I don't even know how long this video is. Just know it's been really hard for me to record lately, so I'm taking a break now. That way, when I actually, finish the rest of this, I won't need one as badly. So, next is going to be hero versus villains. Anyways, I'm out. Alright, continuing off where I was. As Izuku goes to walk away, he is stopped by President Mike, Aizawa, and Midnight. And they all look dead at him and just straight up tell him to come with them. As they do so, they will bring Izuku into the conference room. First from there, they would ask him, "Kid, okay, your paperwork says time manipulation." Izuku looks forward and nods, and they would just straight up ask him, "How the hell did you make an energy sword? Also, where did you get the computer from that is capable of hacking into our robots?" Okay, well, for one, the energy sword comes from the source of time itself. The flow of time and all energy created by it, I'm able to manipulate it and turn it into pure power itself, creating time constructs, that being weapons and swords. Now, I have one technique called Shattered Time. This technique hits a person with all the pain they cause within a person's time. Huh? Basically, all pain and suffering throughout the timeline is hit by a person. Now, what you've seen was called, well, the lapse blade. That blade is very simple. Everything it cuts ages infinitely. What? Everything it cuts ages infinitely. Which is why it was able to smoothly slice through the zero pointer without ever actually slicing it. It rusted it to an infinite degree. Oh, and the computer, I just pulled it from an alternate timeline. Wait. You can access alternate timelines? Izuku looks forward and calmly nods. If you can access alternate timelines, can you travel back and forward in time? Yes. Can you alter timelines? Yes. Can you rewind, control, teleport, do whatever I want? Yes. I'm a god. Welcome to 1A. Quickly, they would all say, like, at the same exact time. They will tell him that Aizawa is going to be his homeroom teacher, and, well, honestly, they don't know what the hell to do with him. I mean, he's a god. From here, they would just let him go home. So, the next day will come around when he would get his letter in the mail, and he has first place overall by so much. And when the day comes around for him to get there, I will see everything playing out like canon, except for the scene where Mineta goes to stare into the hole. Izuku just walks towards him, and he places his arm on his shoulder, and he tells him, "First off, little guy, If you look through that hole, I will make you look through your own hole. And I think you know what I'm trying to tell you. Minato looks at him confused. No. He says, I will detach your head from your body whilst keeping your brain, your eyes, your mouth functional and keeping your body alive while shoving your head up your own fucking ass. Oh. Okay. That's totally not insane. Solely isn't a insanely freaked out and brutal statement. I never thought I would hear something like that. Izuku just looks at him, blank facial expression. Do I look like I care? He would ask. Huh? Do I look like I care? You're gonna be a little creep towards those girls. How about I give you visions of you like losing your virginity and make your physical body feel it? Would that make you happier? Eminem says yes. Deku then says no, as he just simply smacks him across the face. And Mineta is just laid across the ground. Every guy there just looks towards him like, dude, damn. I mean, it was necessary, but damn. Deku then would say he shouldn't have been being a fucking creep. He looks at him and says, some people would kill behind their siblings, and they would kill behind little girls. Don't be a fucking creep. Think about it, you fucking idiot. Worse from here, Deku would walk off, and Mineta would just be laying there. So am I gonna get the vision still? Deku then would say, no. Worse from here, we time skip on over towards Deku making it outside, and Aizawa just looks forward as he would throw the ball to Bakugo. He tells him that Bakugo got second place in the overall entrance exams, right behind Izuku there. He then would say he wants him to get the ball as far away as he possibly can. And well, Bakugo is stronger than his manga self at this point. I have absolutely no fucking idea how far this bar is gonna go. So we're just gonna say he's gonna get second place overall behind the child. And to put it simply, the class is absolutely astonished by Bakugo's power. I'm telling y'all, he would wipe the floor with his manga self end of series. And go to sleep whilst doing it. This Bakugo is a problem. And the entire class would see that. Now, you may be wondering, how did he get second place and not Izuku? Aizawa straight up forbade Izuku from doing this. He just says it very blankly. Izuku is massively stronger than everyone there by a insane margin. So it is no point in him making Izuku freaking do this when he's just so much stronger than everyone else. It's just not fair. It would never be fair to begin with. So he decides not to. Why in God's name would he do that? Because this man is a monster. He is the monster itself. So now let's do this. Time skip. Boom, 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 boom. Baby, baby shark, do do do. Baby shark, do do do. Baby shark. Kill them all. Whoa, no. Anyways, I don't know why I did that. But yeah, anyways, everybody finishes this little test portion. And now everyone in the class will just straight up just stop and ask Aizawa. So, can we see what Izuku's capable of? Because, well, a few of us only got to see glimpses of him in action, and that was at the UA entrance exams itself. Aizawa then would say, I didn't make Izuku do this for simple reasons. He would eclipse everyone here. He then looks towards him. Do you want to show off for a bit? Izuku smiles. Sure, I don't mind. As the ball would be thrown towards him, he would catch it. He holds the ball within his hand, as suddenly the ball will be engulfed in its energy, a green energy which would surround the ball. And suddenly a construct of a freaking hourglass would form. And Izuku would snap his fingers and the ball would be gone. The class looks forward confused as Izuku would spawn in a baseball bat as he grabs another ball and smacks that bitch into orbit. Everyone there looks shocked, as Aizawa would say, infinity twice. Oh, that must be why. He did it so casually, and with the baseball bat, where did that come from? That much power, it gotta be on the level of All Might. In case you're wondering, when he swung that baseball bat has a quirk inside of it, which the quirk inside of it is just so happens to be one for all. So, yeah. He smacked that bitch. That bitch went boom boom. Like, it went boom boom. Okay, that bitch went into orbit. He astonished the class. And Izuku puts it back into his frozen dimension. Worse from here, as I would say. So, does anyone else want to see what Izuku here is capable of? In the entire class would just shake their heads no. Worse from here, we do a time skip. On over towards the hero versus villains. All Might would enter the classroom as he would have in the original timeline. I'm walking through the door like a normal person. Oh. I see I've arrived a little at an awkward moment here. As the entire class is stunned. Everyone mouths agape. Even Izuku's mouth is agaped. All Might, the number one pro hero, is here. Everyone lets off screams of excitement. Worse from here, All Might would give everyone their hero suit. And believe it or not, Izuku's hero suit is dead ass a regular civilian's clothing with a cape on it. Everyone in the class just looks at him like, dude, that shit is so ass. Izuku didn't want to say, to be honest, I just did not care that much to actually try making this look cool and flashy and all that lame ass shit. I just did not care that much. The class looks at him. You could have at least slightly tried. I mean, man, that looks so lame. Deku even says, damn, that's a crazy ass shame. And the class looks at him. Dude, you could have tried. Deku even says, I did. But I just couldn't wear all that bulky ass, over the top, hot ass shit. It's lame. But, you know, you guys got that. Worse from here, well, the teams will be picked. And the team is Izuku Midoriya by himself versus Bakugo, Todoroki, and Tsukuyomi. Deku then says, I'm sorry. Isn't this supposed to be a 2v2? All Might then would say, it is, but it's a 3v1 because you're you. Deku then would say, that's not very fair. Izuku. Complete honesty. I genuinely think this still isn't fair for them. All Might would say, I've heard about what you can do, and I'm not gonna really let you fight against anyone else. So, you have a head start. Hide the bomb to the best of your ability. Deku then says, okay. As he takes the bomb, and this man proceeds to just throw it into his alternate universe. As they look on the camera, they're like, wait, where's the bomb? All Might just straight up says he has no idea. That kid is a prodigy. He's a different breed. We have no idea what Izuku's about to do. Give me a second. I heard like a loud noise. Bakugo, Todoroki, and Tsukuyomi would enter inside of the building, with everyone in the class watching onward. Bakugo then looks towards Todoroki. He just simply says, either I can blow up this whole building, or you can freeze it. Can you do that? Todoroki looks at him and just calmly nods. As Bakugo jumps and he grabs Tsukuyomi, Tsukuyomi jumps, and Todoroki flash freezes the entire building with a circle around Izuku where the ice never froze. Izuku then would say, I haven't picked the timeline correctly. It appears they're going with that plan. He narrows his eyes as calmly he would just stand there, waiting, as instantly a massive boom shoots right through the floor, with Bakugo creating a massive explosion right to the top floor. Worst Izuku was. Izuku could be seen calmly standing there, as he would say, Gachan, was that really necessary? Bakugo then would say, had to make a dramatic entrance now, Deku. Deku then would just calmly say, you know you're gonna regret this, right? Bakugo looks at him. I'm not gonna regret shit, you damn nerd. As quickly Bakugo would launch explosions as he rushed forward towards Deku, throwing his arm into the air and going downward with a powerful explosion, which Deku would just casually block. As he could be seen blocking the explosion, Deku then would say in annoyance, you're a lot more pathetic than I thought, Bakugo. As he kicks him in the stomach and sends him flying. Bakugo winds up flipping midair as he don't say pathetic. Dude, are you good? Deku then says, yeah, I just thought you were a lot stronger than that. Last time I checked the Kachan, I knew wasn't such a weak and pathetic bitch. As he says this, Bakugo balls up his fist. Who the hell are you talking to? As calmly, Todoroki will walk up. He's rage baiting you. It's pretty obvious. Look at his facial expression. He himself can't even keep a straight face. Bakugo then would stop balling up his fist, realizing he's right. Deku's never spoke to him like that before. Deku then says, oh, looks like it didn't work. Maybe I am in a different timeline. Bakugo then would say, what do you mean? Let's see. Do I want you guys to win? Let me see if there's a timeline where you do win. He closes his eyes. He's like, oh, shit, there's 3. It's pretty surprising. He then looks forward. But we're not in one of those 3. As Bakugo just simply sighs, knowing that they're just straight up gonna lose. But he doesn't care. He launches an explosion forward and appears right in front of Izuku, spinning and kicking this man right across the face with a fucking nuke behind it. Bakugo kicked this man so hard and so powerful as it wasn't for the fact that Deku put up a field around the entire area, a time field, which captures all of the excess explosion and all of the excess attacks from the rest of his classmates. Straight up, Bakugo would have killed everybody with that one simple attack. And Deku just looks at him as he gets upwards from a nuke hitting him in the face. And his face begins to regenerate at a rapid rate. He then would say, see, Bakugo, this is why you're my best friend. You're the only person that can touch me. Deku instantly appears in front of Bakugo and smacks him in the stomach. Bakugo is sent flying. As a burst of ice is sent flying towards Deku, Deku lifts up his hand and proceeds to rewind the ice back into water. And you're probably wondering, but the ice didn't exist. He rewounded the atoms within the ice, basically forcing them to be broke apart, and he turned it into water. From here, Todoroki will send ice wave after ice wave, but Izuku is just teleporting all around them. He appears in front of Todoroki and punches him in the stomach once, punches him in the stomach twice, and it proceeds to hit him in his throat before vanishing. Todoroki would be unscathed and he looked at him confused before Izuku hit this man with lagged attacks, which led to his stomach being hit 1, 2, hit the throat. This man drops to his knees immediately, holding his throat and holding his stomach in pain. He struggles to get up as a knee is seen flying at his face. Whereas from here, Tsukiyomi charges into the battle, and Bakugo will charge in right alongside him. Bakugo goes in for a punch, and Tsukiyomi goes in for an attack. With Dark Shadow rushing forward, Bakugo will hit an explosion, and Deku will quickly weave his hand through the air, grabbing the explosion and rewinding it to a point where Dark Shadow winds up being hit by the explosion. Because, well, Deku rewinded the attack to where it was before, the attack moved out of the way, so that means that Dark Shadow winds up getting hit by the explosion, which means he's hit by the powerful light, which means Dark Shadow is weakened. As Deku proceeds to sweep kick Tsukiyomi, and this man then proceeds to kick him in the face. He then just yarns before explaining that he hasn't used any of his weapons yet, and he hasn't even flied, he hasn't reversed anything, he hasn't done any of his overpowered stuff yet, he's just chilling. As he says this, Deku just looks, and Bakugo tells him that he doesn't give a damn what he uses. He stands up. Bakugo tells him that he knows he's stronger than Deku, and he rushes forward towards Deku, goes in for a punch, and Deku would vanish and appear behind him. He goes in for another one, Deku would vanish. Deku begins to vanish all around this ring. Todoroki gets up and he starts hitting an explosive blast of ice, and Bakugo throwing explosions at Deku, and Tsukiyomi going in trying to use Dark Shadow, but he's just dodging and evading all 3 of them with such ease. Whereas from here, Deku creates literal chains of pure time itself, which would latch around the 3 of them, holding all 3 of them down. Deku then proceeds to literally fast forward both of them, all 3 of them, into just straight up adults. And then this man proceeds to knock all 3 of them unconscious and grown as adult form. Whereas from here, Deku proceeds to shrink them down all the way back to where they was. And I would say, Izuku wins by a lot. And as is stated, the class is stunned. Because realistically speaking, 3 of them could properly fight Bakugo, and the 3 of them would still lose. Hell, 4 of them could probably fight Todoroki, and 4 of them would lose. They don't know about Dark Shadow and Tsukiyomi, but the 2 out of the top 3 in the class, Deku effortlessly defeated them like they were nothing. They didn't wonder who's stronger between Bakugo and Todoroki, because what they just seen was crazy. Deku just eviscerated them, and he wasn't even trying. They barely even seen him use any of his actual time powers. He was just dogging them out like they were nothing. From here, they would discuss who was the MVP, and it was very obviously gonna be Deku. I mean, Deku did things that are just unimaginable. The way he just embarrassed those guys would like cause a school shooter to arise. Like, it was that bad. So when Deku gets up there, they will all ask him like, yo, what is his full power like? And Deku just scratches the back of his head and just straight up says that he doesn't know, and that he could probably beat All Might in the fight. As he says this, All Might just kind of raises an eyebrow at that, like, Deku then say, well, Bakugo is massively stronger than you, and well, I've never had to use my full power against him ever. All Might hears that and he's like, what'd you say? Young Bakugo is stronger than me? Deku looks forward and just calmly nods, by a lot. The class then would say, wait, Bakugo, explosion guy, stronger than All Might. Deku would nod. They then would say, how do you know that? Deku then would say, my quirk is time manipulation. I personally trained Bakugo for the entirety of the 10 months of training. And I made a zone we were able to train for over 2 years within the span of only 2 months. And during that time, Bakugo learned that his base explosions are equivalent to, well, atom bombs, capable of wiping out entire continents. Wait, hold up. Rewind. Doug says, okay, as he snaps his fingers and just rewinds the entire conversation and says it over. And Deku then would straight up tell him that he already rewinded it once. And I'm like, wait, what? Deku then says, oh yeah, we had this conversation already, but you said rewind, so I rewinded it. I didn't mean literally, Kaminari would say. If you did that, how come Bakugo isn't, older than all of us? Deku then would say, pretty simple. I connected his physical time to the outside world's time, which meant that during his time of us training, he only aged by 2 months. And well, me, I only aged by 2 months as well, but I can just reverse my age, so I'll stay young and beautiful forever, Izuku would say. He just looks at him, but I just got one question. Why do you always look tired? Are you just sleepy, or is it just like it's a side effect of my quirk? I'm gonna always appear tired because I'm always, well, out of rest. Oh. Okay, that makes sense, Izuku would say. Is there anything else about your quirk, like any other cool or crazy feature that you can do? There's a lot of things I can do. I can control the energy of time itself. I can punch someone with a timelined amount of All Mights. What do you mean? It means I can connect my punch to a punch from All Might from an alternate timeline, which will hit the opponent, and they'll feel like they just got hit by All Might. Your quirk is confusing. The class would all just simply say, and Deku-jin would say, well, yeah, time is confusing. It has so many things it can do, but there's so many random weird limitations. From here, we time skip on over towards the class on the bus. Why? Because I genuinely don't care who's class rep. I don't care about the lunchroom scene, so we're just going to time skip straight to them being on the bus, headed towards the USJ. Now, the discussion of who's the strongest in the class doesn't even happen this time around. Instead, they're discussing who's the third strongest in the class, because number 1, clearly Deku. Number 2, clearly Bakugo. And as the class is discussing this, it's very apparent that, well, number 3 is definitely Todoroki. Number 4, probably Ida. Number 5 is going to be Tsukiyomi. Number 6, I don't know, somebody like Kaminari. Number 7, like 6'7". If y'all see my face, I had a corny ass smile just then. But anyways, blah 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 blah. Y'all get the point. Anyways, from here we cut on over towards the USJ attack starting, and well, The moment the USJ attack starts, Deku just straight up freezes time, walks up to Toragiri, looks at him and thinks, I wonder if I can rewind the mind within his body and resurrect the soul. I'll try that later. He turns around, walks away, goes back to his position, resumes time, and all the villains arrive. Once the villains arrive, Kirishima will still hit his classic, wow, they have fake villains line, which will lead to Aizawa jumping down and the battle beginning. Now, he would still be teleported off towards the water zone. But once Izuku's teleported off towards the water zone, he just simply looks towards Mineta, he looks towards Tsuyu in the water, and he's easily able to just straight up snatch both of them out of the water. By diving into the water, freezing the water and everything within it, walking towards both of them, grabbing them, and I do mean walking, like he literally walked underwater. Like, I'm not kidding, like he walked. Grabbed Tsuyu, grabbed Mineta, jumped out of the water, and put them on the ship, resume time, and both of them freaking out, but he tells him it's okay. He then proceeds to lift up his hand and warps time itself, creating a freaking portal. By warping space-time, he forcibly made a portal, which is just right back to where they just was. And he walks right through it. And both of them would walk with him. And then they just look at him. So you can make portals. Deku would nod. What the hell can't you do? Mineta would ask. It's not fair. It's like a magnet for the holes. Deku then looks at him. I mean, I'm just goated like that. He then looks towards both of them. He then pulls out 2 rings. He gives one to Tsuyu. This ring allows you to generate and control water. All you have to do is focus on it as if you're focusing on another quirk. He looks towards Mineta. This one allows you to generate and manipulate Earth, which is good because you're currently on the Earth itself. Think of it as if you're using your quirk. It also allows you to telekinetically control the balls of your hair. Why? Because I figured you need a little extra. He looks towards him. No, you cannot keep these at all. Well, Tsuyu, you can. Mineta, you absolutely cannot. He then looks towards him. Why? Probably because you're a fucking pedophile. Mineta says, what? What do you mean I'm a pedophile? Deku looks at him. I don't know. I just feel like you are. I don't trust you. You're not getting extra powers. The answer is no. He looks towards Tsuyu. But you can. You can keep him. He don't say, let me guess, you like the tongue too. Deku just looks at him. I'm really considering not letting you keep that ring. Deku grabs both Mineta and Tsuyu's faces and pushes them back, as well as pushing his own face back, as a massive hand was seen flying out towards him. And there you would see the Nomu slowly turn. Grr. Deku then would say, what the fuck? As Shigaraki then says, I don't know what the issue is, but my master specifically ordered for you and All Might to die, kid. Shigaraki looks forward. So, you're gonna die. Deku then looks forward. Probably because I'm a threat towards him. After all, I'm a being of pure time itself. Deku then lifts up his hand as he would summon the Shattered Blade, a blade made entirely of broken timelines. He spins his blade forward and pushes forward towards the Nomu. Quickly, the Nomu goes in for a punch, but Izuku sweeps and slices the Nomu's stomach smooth open. As this happens, the Nomu begins to age infinitely. Shigaraki looks forward, and within a matter of a few seconds, within a matter of fact, instantaneously, his Nomu's fucking dead. Shigaraki looks and he's like, Deku then realizes, hey, I have a question. Was that thing even human? Shigaraki then would say, no. Oh, well, I don't feel too bad killing it. Did it at least used to be human? I don't know. Shigaraki begins to shake as he looks towards Deku. Deku then would roll his eyes and think, I'm a little bored. And I want a little bit of fun. So, he rewinds time and restores the Nomu to life, with a command to kill him still being active. Deku will drop the Shattered Blade and it will revert back into the timeline once it came from, and Deku would dodge a punch from the Nomu. He would dodge another one, and another one, and another one. As he begins to dodge punch after punch after punch, he begins to purposely weaken himself. As he goes in, he punches the Nomu across the face with a massive shockwave being released, with the Nomu blitzing forward and kicking this man dead in the stomach. And instead of Izuku rewinding time to where the attack never happened, he let it hit him. He's sent flying halfway across the USJ and he gets upwards, blitzing back forward, appearing in front of Nomu, spawning in a wind staff as he spins the staff and bashes it across the Nomu's face with a burst of wind being released. Worse from there, Deku proceeds to crack his neck and he instantly would zip and appear in front of Nomu, kicking it in the chest before he would grab the Nomu's hand, aging the Nomu's hand all the way up into infinite, turning the Nomu's hand into dust. Worse from that, he would catch the leg of the Nomu, de-aging it down to a fucking baby's leg. Worse than that, he would literally just straight up kick the Nomu in the dick. He just kicked it in the dick. All of his might and strength. The Nomu would drop to the ground. Worse from here, Izuku would look at it and put both of his fingers on its brain. Worse from here, he would rewind the Nomu's mind all the way back to before it was a Nomu. What the fuck? The Nomu would quickly say, and Deku's like, whoa, he can talk. The Nomu begins to cry, scream, talk about the painful shit he went through. And Deku just looks at him as he restores his arm and restores his leg back to normal. And the Nomu begins to talk as if it was a regular person. And this Nomu was a regular guy. He was just a random guy with a shock absorption quirk before All For One kidnapped him and turned him into a monster. He's screaming, he's crying in pain and just suffering. And Deku looks at him. And this man proceeds to rewind his physical body whilst keeping the quirks intact. What Deku essentially just did, he literally resurrected the being within the Nomu whilst keeping the quirk factors in there. And after he does this, the guy that was in the Nomu, well, obviously enough, he thinks Izuku an insane amount. And Shigaraki sees this and he just straight up gives up. Just plain and simply, he sees that Izuku just freaking resurrected his Nomu. Resurrected the being within his Nomu. And he doesn't know what to do. What is he gonna do? Get his ass beat? For what? He gives up. He proceeds to run as fast as he possibly can, with Kurogiri running with them, sending Shigaraki off to safety, because what else is there to do? He got to keep his boy Shigaraki safe. He gotta. Well, that's what he thinks he did, but nah, he didn't. He takes Shigaraki off, and Shigaraki and Kurogiri winds up leaving. As they end up leaving, Izuku then would think to himself, I managed to save someone, but was it really worth it? What did I really get out of it? Whatever. He proceeds to wait for the heroes to arrive. He explains to the heroes what the Nomu was. The fact that it was a monster made by the League of Villains. And it was made, well, to kill him. And All Might. But of course, it failed. Because, well, it just does not stand a chance against him. Most, if not nothing, stands a chance against him. And well, that was pretty much nothing the Pro Heroes could do because, well, it's not like he was lying. Most things, if not everything, really doesn't stand a chance against him. So they wound up letting him go. And they just decided not to question a thing. And, well, from here we time skip on over towards the UA Sports Festival, which I do not see this going like you guys are expecting. I'm lying. I do. The UA Sports Festival will begin. Izuku goes up there and he gives a little speech, but his speech was pretty plain. He just says, hey, to be honest with y'all, I'm going to win. It's not going to be close. But really quickly, we're going to cut to a flashback where you will see All Might as he walks forward towards Izuku and he would ask him if he can heal him. Izuku would do so. Worse from there, All Might would offer Izuku one for all, but Izuku would decline and tell him that he should give it to Bakugo. And from here, well, All Might would give Bakugo one for all during the little break in between, well, the UA Sports Festival and the USJ. Alright, so from here, I'm going to be taking my second break, and this time it's going to be taking like an actual break because to keep it real with y'all, the first break, I just paused it, got some water, came right back. Yeah, this time around I'm not. I'm actually finna go to sleep. I don't remember exactly where I left off, but I would like to give y'all a quick heads up. If you hear any talking in the background, I'm sorry. Family, I don't have my own place, so I can't really control what's going on within the environment. I do what I can in order to make the videos as best as possible, but again, I can't control them. With that being said, I don't remember where we left off, so I'm just going to start at the race, and hopefully I'm correct. As the race begins, everyone takes off running. Everyone except for Deku. Deku doesn't even bother to move a muscle. He just kind of chills. As he's chilling there, boom, he witnesses everybody running like some animals. Until eventually, kaboom, they wind up getting into their places. Izuku realizes that someone's about to reach first place, and he just cracks a smirk. Freezing time, he would just casually walk on over towards first place, and then he'll resume time, with him being past the finish line, with President Mike screaming, "Izuku Midoriya, first place!" shocking everyone, with everyone looking around in absolute astonishment. That guy, did he teleport? That's what almost everyone would assume, because there's no way he moved that quickly. Deku doesn't smile. He just has a blank facial expression like, damn, that's crazy. With Bakugo coming in quickly, instantly getting freaking second place. And Deku looks at him. Yeah, you should be faster than that by now, Kachan. Bakugo looks at him. Shut the hell up, you damn nerd. Damn, I'm a nerd now? Nah, maybe you're just too slow. Bakugo would stare Deku down and says, I don't care when it happens, Deku. I'm gonna beat your ass. Deku just blankly looks at him. Now you know that's a damn lie. Deku would just confidently say. Bakugo stares at him. Alright. Alright. Okay. Fine. Let's do this. Time skip. Boom. The cavalry battle. Now, to be completely honest with y'all, I don't know how in God's name I can make this work. It doesn't matter who's on Deku's team. It doesn't matter if Deku's on the team by himself. He's going to win. By a lot. So, with honesty, we really can just skip this. Because, I mean, what is there really to cover? I mean, he's a fucking god. So, we're just going to time skip past this. Now, we time skip on over towards the 101. Starting off with Deku versus Shinso. Now, Deku will still be warned about Shinso's mind control. Okay, if you hear the voice in the background right now, it's going to happen now. So, he'll be told about Shinso's mind control, okay? And instead of not listening like Ken and Deku would, this one would actually listen. He would listen about the mind control, and he would not, speak. He just simply looks at Shinso, freezes time, walks towards him, and proceeds to place his arm onto the spot where the Quirk gene is located. Closing his eyes, he then proceeds to fast forward Shinso's quirk. The reasoning behind him doing this is because Izuku knows that Shinso does not deserve to be in the freaking whatever course it's called. He has a quirk that's powerful enough for him to be a pro hero. So he's fast forwarding Shinso's quirk, forcibly causing a quirk awakening. And then he throws him out the ring. And then, well, he would resume time and he would be declared as the winner. Everyone would be shocked because people just do not know what this guy's quirk is. It looks like he's teleporting people, and just like all in all, they do not see anything that Izuku's doing. He's too freakishly powerful. But the next fight will be Izuku versus Todoroki. And before he goes into the ring, Todoroki will stop him as he tells him, hey, I'm gonna beat you using only my ice. Using my power. Izuku stops and turns at him. You're gonna what? You heard me. Deku just looks at him. You're joking, right? Deku would say. And Todoroki looks at him with a dead serious expression. Alright, let me make this clear. I am not gonna fight someone who's only gonna use a fraction of their power against me. So, if you do not use your full power when you face me, I will fucking embarrass you in the worst way you can possibly imagine. Don't fucking hold back on me. I'm not a fucking weakling. As he says this, Todoroki looks at him. No, I'm not gonna hold back. Then use your fire. I won't use the fire though. So you're still gonna hold back against me. Okay. You'll see when you're forced to use it. As Izuku turns and walks away, Todoroki just stares him down as he walks off and balls up his fist. Now, they will both enter into the ring, with Izuku staring at Todoroki, and Todoroki sending a burst of ice before the guy could even start the match. As the wave of ice comes forward towards Izuku, Izuku lifts up his hand and rewinding it out of existence. Todoroki goes in with another burst of ice. Izuku will then rewind it out of existence. Every single attack that Todoroki throws at Izuku, Izuku will continuously rewind it out of existence, or he would teleport, dodging the attacks over and over and over and over and over again before he begins to fly into the air, evading all of Todoroki's ice strikes, because now this means they have to send ice pillars and all types of shit at him. And well, Izuku just has the advantage. He's freaking flying. Todoroki then proceeds to jump upwards into the air, shooting an ice pillar that launches himself even higher, where there he will cover his fist in ice and goes in for an icy punch. But Izuku will just weave, and he then proceeds to smack Todoroki across the face, sending him flying back down to the ring with a massive crater forming. Izuku then will calmly float down as he looks at him. Use your fire, Shoto. I do not have time for this. Todoroki looks at him. Never. I'll never use his quirk. Izuku just looks at him. Then you'll never be a hero. As Todoroki looks at him, shut up! And immediately he shoots a massive wave of ice, the same scale that he used to get in Sero. As this same scale of power is rushing towards Deku, he literally just shakes his head. Fucking pathetic. And with a swipe of his hand, the ice wave completely switches directions, and instead of it going towards him, it goes towards Todoroki, and Todoroki is completely frozen over. Todoroki's confused. He switched places? What the hell? The crowd is confused. What the hell? Unknowingly, Izuku proceeded to use a time swap, literally swapping their places within time, causing for Todoroki to be the one hit by his own iceberg. Todoroki will be completely frozen, and Deku then would say, use your fire to escape. You can't use ice to escape ice. Use your common sense, Shoto. And as he watches Todoroki constantly trying using his ice to overtake his ice, but the ice isn't breaking through, it's just merging with one another. Izuku would sigh in annoyance. He'll never learn. He turns around and sees fire beginning to form as Todoroki melts himself out of the ice. But he instantly deactivates the fire and rushes back towards Izuku, trying to use ice again. Deku's facial expressions become extremely heated at this point. He appears and smacks him in the stomach and sends him flying. Izuku then says, you know you can't beat me. I'm not even using any of my actual power. But since you want to play around like I told you, either you're going to use your fire or I was going to embarrass you. Izuku stumps his foot on the ground, where all of a sudden, other Izukus begin to walk out of his body, temporal clones, creating duplicates of himself pulled from moments in his own timeline. As this happens, 5 Izukus could be seen standing in the ring, and all of Class 1A is like, he can fucking make clones? One Izuku hand began to grow green, the other one began to glow blue, as all of them rushed towards Todoroki, and all of them striking him rapidly. One of them would hit him with an attack which ages him rapidly, causing him to rapidly age and experience growing pains at a rapid rate, while the other ones would rapidly de-age him, with each and every single attack aging, de-aging, aging, and de-aging, just all in all fucking up his entire body, before Izuku would stop, summon the shattered blade, and points it forward and tells him he could instantly kill him right now with one attack from this. One attack. Do I make myself clear? Holding back is not an option for your survival. Be wise with it, child. I could kill you without even trying. He then would say, I'll never use that. Izuku then would say, you know what? As he grabs Todoroki by his face, he then would say, watch this. It was in a simple moments, Todoroki begins to witness all the alternate timelines of what his life would have been. He witnesses a timeline where Endeavor was a good father, where he trained and used his fire and ice ever since he was a kid, using both of his quirks together, creating the blue phosphorus mode even at the age of 10 years old. He witnesses a world where him and Endeavor were a good family. Then he witnesses a world where Endeavor was even worse than what he is in this world, which would lead to all of his kids becoming powerful villains. Where Dabi, while being a villain, with Dabi, his brother Toya, being a powerful villain within this world, his sister Natsuo and Tsuyumi both having powerful ice quirks and being villains, and him being the ringleader of it all with a powerful fire and ice quirk, just being a monster. He witnesses a world where they were knights instead of heroes, and a kingdom protecting all their kingdoms, where his father would be a member of the royal family, but he would be arrogant. He witnesses so many different worlds and all the times where his fire was a part of him. He sees the power that he's missing. He sees the amount of strength that he just can't access because of it. It makes him feel kind of sick. Todoroki's eyes would be opened, and immediately he would engulf in flame. He looks forward how do I explain this? Like a confident look. I would say a confidence look. He looks at him, and immediately, boom, pops a massive wave of fire towards Izuku. Izuku jumps back with just the absolute calmness. He stares at him and he just tells him to come at him, with Todoroki rushing at him. Immediately, Todoroki would send off a burst of fire, which Izuku would calmly dodge, and immediately he would hit him with a chrono strike, punching this man across the face with the force of a timeline. Obviously, not the full force, because that would instantly kill anybody. But he punched him with super strength, and he sent him flying. Izuku then would pull a staff from an alternate timeline, not the wind one, instead a fire one. He begins to spin it rapidly as green flames begin to form. He points the staff forward and swings it with a massive burst of green fire. But then the crowd begins to boo him, saying support items aren't allowed unless they're a support hero. But then President Mike would say, that right there is one of Izuku Midoriya's signature abilities, time pulling, allowing him the ability to pull items from alternate timelines. What he just pulled will be a staff. Believe it or not, that staff is not a support item, but instead a quirked weapon itself. This causes the crowd to become confused, but President Mike then would say, in simple terms, the weapon that he has isn't a support item. It has a quirk itself. Sorry guys, I do not feel too good. But the crowd will go wild, all being stunned and surprised by this ability, and then Izuku looks at him. Now that you finally use your full power, I don't have to hold back anymore. Well, I don't have to go crazy on you anymore. He starts holding back all of his attacks. He starts temporal phasing, stepping between moments so he's intangible. He starts summoning past echoes of Todoroki and making them fight against each other. He literally sends Todoroki backwards in time a few times, literally reversing the effect, so sending him back frozen into that ice. He would lock part of Todoroki in time, making it to where his right hand can no longer move. He then proceeds to warp the field that which Todoroki sees, causing him to see everything moving at a much faster rate, too fast for his body to react to it, whilst Izuku sees everything in a much slower rate, perfect for him to react to. Now, he just starts beating this man's down, and it gets to a point where he's starting to feel a bit bad for him. Like, this guy is genuinely weak. He walks towards him, and he forms a chrono staff, and he proceeds to smack him across the face with it. Not a chrono blade, chrono staff, and it knocks Todoroki unconscious. From here, Izuku will be declared the winner, and it's time for the next fight. Izuku Midoriya versus Katsuki Bakugo. Now, Bakugo steps into the ring, and he stares Izuku down. Now, from what the crowd could see, Izuku and Bakugo have been dominating the competition by far, with Izuku and Bakugo on the cavalry battle being on the same team. But in the 1v1s, both of them just absolutely embarrassed their opponents, and it was very clear that neither one of them went to their full power a single time. Izuku looks forward. Kachan, how do you want to do this? Bakugo simply tells him to get ready and die, you damn nerd. Deku just slipped. He just starts chuckling, saying, of course, your first words you're gonna say to me is die. Makes sense. Deku gets into a fighting stance and he smiles. You know I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. If y'all hear the train in the background, I'm sorry. I really wish I didn't fucking live near that. But the match will begin. And as soon as the match begins, Bakugo rushes towards Izuku, appears right in front of him and smacks him in the stomach. Boom! Izuku is sent flying, with Bakugo having lightning sparks coming off of him. Deku then would say, "Oh, okay, I actually felt that. Oh." He proceeds to stand up. As his eyes will glow, he rewind the wound. He then looks forward towards Bakugo, who's already gone from his peripheral vision. Deku will close his eyes, peering into what timeline he's in, and realize Bakugo's going to appear on his right. Deku would instantly duck an explosion and quickly come up with a massive uppercut that launches Bakugo into the air. Deku then would immediately have a red orb come off of him. As his red orb begins to come off him, Deku begins to channel his darker timelines, channeling a timeline in which he has the same quirk, but he went evil. And what he's doing is he's channeling more dark time-based abilities. Instantly, Deku jumps into the air and he appears right above Bakugo, spinning and going in for a kick, but that kick will be blocked by a wall of fire. And Deku realizes, damn it, he still has to ring. Deku will jump backwards as Bakugo smiles, and then dark orange tendrils begin to form, and Deku looks forward confused. Bakugo then will say, "Black Whip," as instantly the tendrils shoot forward towards Deku, wrapping around him and literally dragging this man across the ground, hoisting him up into the air and slamming him down with a goddamn dirty nick. Basically, yeah, that's what happens. Bakugo then proceeds to shoot more tendrils towards Deku. Deku then proceeds to literally phase out of existence, appear right behind Bakugo and kick him in the back. Bakugo will be stunned as Izuku suddenly appears in front of him, mink, 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 punching him 4 or 5 times before calmly turning around, walking away, and just backhanding him by the back of his head. As this happens, Deku would just calmly walk off as all those strikes would hit him delayed, causing Bakugo to feel the effects randomly. At random moments, he delayed every last one of those attacks into a moment where he wants to activate the attack. Which means that if Bakugo tries using his explosions, Deku would randomly activate one of the attacks, causing Bakugo to just get punched by nothing. He's like, what the fuck? He looks forward towards Deku, who just proceeds to look at him and smile. Deku then will tell him, let's do this. I'll let you use your full power right here, right now. Do whatever you want to do. Your most powerful attack. Bakugo looks at him. Can't do that, I'll destroy the entire city. Deku then would smile. I'm not gonna let that happen. You use your full power, I'll use my full power. We could take this out in one foul swoop. No. Alright, fine. Jay, I was just trying to request it now. As he looks towards Bakugo, Bakugo rushes forward towards him and instantly goes in with one for all at 60%. Going in with a explosive kick. Going in, the kick damn nearly hits Deku. Deku ducks and he instantly rewinds that attack out of existence. Because if he wouldn't have, he would have destroyed damn nearly the whole stadium and killed all those people in the crowd. Deku instantly picks his body up, rushes towards Bakugo as 2 other Dekus will form out of his body, with one of them having a small dagger made out of shattered glass, and the other one having a powerful long spear. As he throws the spear, the other one instantly sweeps and slashes Bakugo's leg with a dagger. Bakugo would screech out in pain as his leg begins to age, and the guy who hits him with a spear, well, Bakugo is sent flying. As Deku lifts up his hand and he then begins to channel a ball of energy. He then throws that bitch onto the ring with a kaboom. And when the smoke is settled, everyone sees the ring destroyed in an old ass man for Bakugo. And well, he's outside the ring with Deku floating on the other only piece of the ring that remains. And well, he's declared the winner. Now, Deku will rewind Bakugo, turning him back into his young self. And Bakugo just looks at him. Even now, I still can't defeat you. That doesn't make any sense. Deku looks at him. I mean, I am literally a god, so yeah. It wasn't really likely that you were gonna be able to really defeat me at this current rate. Yeah, you're right. Bakugo stands up and tells him, it doesn't matter since I'm already going to be the most powerful person there is. And knowing me, I'll still be #1 pro because my popularity will be better than you. Deku just starts laughing before saying, sure, Kachan. Who knows, maybe I'll let you be #1. And from there, he walks off. Now, the next day comes around, and everyone getting their papers, and they're all picking their hero names. Izuku just simply picks a simple name. Kronos, which means, well, God of Time. Which obviously that isn't what Chrono exactly means, but we all know Chronos. Greek mythology, although he's not technically the God of Time in actual Greek mythology, but most places use him as the God of Time, so I'm just gonna do the same thing. So he goes by Chronos, God of Time. Now, Izuku got internship requests from straight up everybody. Put it simply, everybody. But Izuku declined. Everybody turned towards Aizawa and requested to intern with him. Aizawa looks at him. Sure, I guess. And everyone in the class is just stunned. This man had an intern request from All Might, Endeavor, Hawks, Best Genius. Hell, he had an internship from Stars and fucking Stripes. And he still chose Aizawa? Which, I mean, they're not like, they're not freaking, they're not freaking knocking them, but it's like, I don't know. They're not like, knocking Aizawa. It's just, those guys are like the top dogs. But Izuku just straight up says that he doesn't care about everybody else. I mean, he already knows what most of them are going to do. They're going to try, like, getting him to show them everything he can do. And that's going to take entirely too long. So he went ahead and go with Aizawa. And Aizawa is a lot more simpler. From here, we time skip on over towards this happening. But we cut towards Bakugo's perspective, who could be seen patrolling with Gran Torino. Because, yes, he would intern with Gran Torino. And this time around, instead of Deku being the one to find him, it is Bakugo who finds Stain. And Bakugo looks towards Stain, who has a sword damn nearly going into Ida's back. Bakugo shoots explosions, appearing right before Stain and kicking this man's dead in the skull. Stain would be sent flying, and Bakugo would instantly check up on Ida. Are you okay, you goddamn nerd? Ida just looks at him. Get out of here. This is my fight. Bakugo looks at him and just blinks a couple times before completely fucking ignoring him, looking back forward towards Stain, who is slowly getting up. Another fake hero, he would say. Bakugo looks towards him and he's like, dude, I just kicked this man's hard as shit. How is he standing up right now? He looks at him. Fake heroes, the only real heroes, All Might! As he would flex his aura, Bakugo just looks at him and he just thinks to himself, wow. The deck writing is actually kind of crazy. As he does this, Bakugo proceeds to run at Stain, and Stain will run at him, immediately grabbing his blade, going in to slash at Bakugo, but Bakugo will just straight up use Black Whip and he snatches the blade from him. Bakugo then will open up his hand and unleash a torrent of fire, which proceeds to burn Stain. Stain is sent flying with fire just starting to cover his body, with Bakugo staring him down. He then hits this man with a massive explosion, which just kabooms Stain, knocking this man unconscious. He then walks towards Ida, throws him over his shoulder, looks towards Nada, shoot Black Whip at him, and drags him along with him. From here, we time skip on over towards the students versus heroes. But, let's just be honest, and let's just be real. Who the fuck is finna be paired up with Deku? Who the fuck is going to be fighting Deku? The teachers exempt him because they know that none of them can defeat him. And it's kind of not fair for like them to even be put up against the dude. Like, it's not fair at all. So they freaking exempt him because he's a fucking god. And it's not even close to being funny. So, yeah. Anyways, we time skip on over towards the Forest Training Camp arc. Now, during his time in the Forest Training Camp arc, Deku would actually go around to all of his classmates and he would forcibly awaken their quirks. Every single one of them. Now, to be honest with y'all, I don't know what the fuck, like, half of these guys' quirk awakenings will be, so I'm not even going to much make up some shit, just know. Whatever you interpret it to be, that's what they awakened. Except for the ones whose quirk awakenings we already know about, they get exactly what they get in the original timeline. Now, he didn't awaken Bakugo's because, well, Bakugo's was already awakened, so there was no point in awakening his. Okay? With that being said, we can just time skip on over towards when the villains arrive. And I can still see Deku going up to Mountain to go feed Koda, but when Muscular shows up, and Deku sees the look in Koda's eyes and like realizes that this is definitely the guy that killed his parents. Yeah, Deku doesn't hesitate. Muscular's a mass murderer. He summons his Chrono Blade and he instantly kills him. I mean, like dead ass. He instantly slices this man smooth in half, whilst like literally like whilst covering Koda's eyes at the same time. Koda didn't see. Deku took this man off the mountain immediately. Didn't let him see anything, no blood, no nothing. He instantly eradicated Muscular. Now, the force would begin, with all the villains showing up, but with everyone in Class 1A all now having awakened quirks. Yeah, they absolutely fucking solo, with like low difficulty. Everyone in Class 1A would just cause pure havoc. And the villains would lose. And with them losing, no one ends up getting kidnapped this time around, which would lead to, well, the whole All Might versus All For One fight happening a bit later. But we cut on over towards All Might, as All Might could be seen in his office, kind of sitting down. Izuku walks into the office. All Might, you're getting weaker. All Might looks at him. I was already weakened, Izuku. I was injured. Yeah, but you're getting worser. Why is that? All Might looks at him, and then he would explain the way One For All works. And Izuku tells him, I healed your injury a while back. But One For All, you're losing the quirk because you passed it on, right? All Might would nod. Izuku proceeds to put fingers on his chin, and he begins to think, maybe if I do this. He proceeds to place a hand onto All Might's chest, where from there he would rewind the embers of One For all the way to the quirk itself still being there. What he essentially did is, for All Might, he rewinded his body to where he never gave away One For All. And physically, he still has the quirk of One For All, whilst Bakugo still has One For All. Essentially, Izuku just replicated the quirk itself, restoring it. And All Might? Shit, literally no word other than stunned describes this man's current thoughts. That is absolutely astonishing to him. Izuku's a fucking genius. Like, genuinely, no human being should have even thought of something like this, and he thought of it and did it immediately. I mean, he's not trying to glaze the kid or anything, but Izuku's fucking awesome. From here, Izuku would just simply close his eyes and tell him that he's located the other villains. He knows where their base is. And All Might would immediately stand up, and instantly, they call up the cavalry, and they will pull up, and like normal, piece of delivery, smash! As instantly, boom, the battle between All Might and All For One will begin. But with the All Might that has 100% One For All, no embers, and he's in his prime, All For One gets slammed. And even when he doesn't get slammed, and he tries sending out all of his Nomus to help, due to Izuku's presence being there, he would rewind every last Nomu all the way back into, well, they're back into their human forms. He would rewind all of them easily, whilst maintaining the quirks and giving all these people free will, which is a big problem for All For One, because they all remember what was done to them by All For One and by the Doctor, and well, simply put, they do not fuck with this man's. And All For One knows for a fact that he's low-key kind of cooked, because what is he gonna do? These guys literally hate his entire existence and they want him dead beyond dead. So, yeah, we time skip. They absolutely dismantle All For One. And with them dismantling All For One and All Might deciding not to kill him, yeah, nah. Deku walks forward, walking straight past All Might, summoning his Shattered Time, and instantly kills All For One. He looks at him and says he killed every aspect of him, including the other half of him that was planted within Shigaraki. He looks at him. You're out of your mind if you think we're gonna let that guy live. He's a threat to all of existence. Letting him rot in prison? Hell no. He had a plan to break out. A foolish one. Well, a flawless one. He's dead. It solves all of our problems. If I would have kept him alive, he would have killed us all. And when I say us, y'all. He ain't touching me. From here, we time skip on over towards the Eri situation, in which Izuku finally meets the young girl. When he meets Eri, Izuku instantly senses his connection to her. Both of them have a time-based quirk, which is impossible. He doesn't know how that's working. Are they related somehow? He looks at Eri, and immediately he looks towards Overhaul. Viewing into the future, he sees everything Overhaul does to her, and well, in the simplest of fashion, Izuku blitzed his overhaul, instantly freezing both of his arms in place, chronolapsing them, not allowing his arms to move. As he doesn't allow Overhaul's arms to move, he proceeds to instantly one-tap this man by hitting him with a damn nearly almighty fucking push and just laying him out. You may wonder, how did he do that? He literally used time itself to throw this man forward. Well, backwards. So yeah. He then proceeds to go towards Eri. He looks at her, rewinds every single wound on her body, healing her. Worse from here, Izuku would actually take Eri with him. And Overhaul begins to flash. He begins to get angry, but well, he winds up getting apprehended and arrested. From here, Izuku would take down the entire operation within the span of only 3 minutes. He got Eri home, well, he got Eri to UA, and he took down the entire Yakuza by himself. No help, no other heroes. He went in there and just laid out everyone. Alright, so this is where we're going to be ending off the video. Let me know down below how you guys felt about it. Tell me, like, you know, maybe I feel like I did a little bit too much. I wasn't mainly focused on time powers because, to keep it real with y'all, even if I did it like that, I mean, either way it goes, he would have just won everything, so I think I did pretty good. Honestly, I wanted to like branch out and do different things with time-related abilities. That's why he can like Gilgamesh style summon items from other timelines, view other timelines, and I also made him like alter timelines a few times, which you guys probably didn't notice when he did that. But just know, pretty often he had to switch timelines. But with that being said, though, I'm out. And guys, as of now, we're only 5 subscribers away from reaching 5K. When we reach 5K, it may be a bit of a delay, but I will get out the 5K subscriber special as soon as I can. With that being said, I'm out.